All right. Dear Heavenly Father, help us to make great decisions for people of Corona County. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Yax.
Here.
Small.
Here.
Brumman. Here. Brady.
Here.
Johnson.
I'll make motion to approve minutes from February 4th, 2026.
Support.
Who's supported? Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Public comment, limited to 3 minutes per person. Identify yourself for your township. Sure.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Margaret Hitzera and I'm from Haynes Township. And I just have a quick little statement that I'd like to read. That I support the Michigan Clean Energy Act, PA 233 and PA 235, which allow Michigan to make a gradual transition to renewable energy. I also support the concept of local control when data centers are proposed in the county. In your agenda, the resolution from St. Joseph County is stating that to get local control over data centers, Lansing must repeal these acts. However, data centers are not included in either of those acts. In fact, they're currently under local control. So if you're thinking about considering the St. Joseph resolution, I hope you'll have a robust research and discussion with us, your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else public comment? Okay, then we will go into the Michigan Works presentation. You're welcome. You want to use the podium there? It's fine for you.
Too fancy for me. That's all right.
You can set your stuff up there.
There's some interview. My name is Jessica Pratt, and I'm the CEO of Michigan Works Northeast. And I read that you two normally attend the meetings to me. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And here's on my back to you guys. All right, so I have a couple things that I want to talk about today. And my attendance here is stemming from Terry Small, who is on our board, our administrative board. Read an article, I wrote a letter to the editor, which is in your folder, that went to the Alpena News, about a workforce update from Michigan Works Northeast Consortium and the struggles that we are facing, some financial challenges, etc. So in your folder, the first thing you will see is a map that looks like this, just to give you a 30,000 foot view of what Michigan Works looks like. There are 16 Michigan Works agencies in the state, covering all 83 counties. So we are Michigan Works Northeast. So we cover 8 counties in the Northeast Lower Peninsula, from the bridge down to Grayling, over Lake Huron, this county, and everywhere in between. So I included that just to give you a good visual of our coverage area. The second thing in your folder is the printout. If you would like to see picture read at your convenience of the letter to the editor that I did, that Alpena News ran. And the third is an overview of our services. What I'd like to focus on to give you an idea of what we do would be our annual report, which is on the left-hand side of your folder and looks like this. So the rest is if you need reading material for later. The annual report, you can skip over that first page with my picture. Nobody needs to see that picture, and keep going. And I want to give you an overview of who we are and what we do, and that will kind of set the stage for then the financial struggles and kind of where I'm going with this. So to set the stage, I can go over our vision. Our vision is a united community of employers and job seekers working together towards a prosperous future. And we work through our mission to empower today's workforce and ignite tomorrow's economy by bringing together employers, job seekers, and partners. And we do that by our vast array of programs, almost all of which, 99% of which, flow through the state and federal government. So as you can see, page 2, technically page 4, but it's labeled page 2. Our funding sources are 73% federal dollars, 26% state dollars. When you look at our programs and how they flow down, our programs flow from mostly the federal government to the state. And the state then takes that and divides it up throughout the 16 Michigan Works agencies. And those are based on, depending on program, anything from population to unemployment rate to the number of people who are on cash assistance, so on and so forth. So that's how that's determined. And as you can imagine, because we are in Northeast Michigan, I know all of you understand, our population is less, our unemployment rate is higher, and there are more people on cash assistance. You would think that would get us more money, but because our population is lower than others, we are one of the lowest funded Michigan Works in the entire state. If you look at like Oakland County Michigan Works, Capital Area Michigan Works, West Michigan Works, which encompasses Grand Rapids, we do not compare. We are not on the same level, if you will. So how we help mitigate that is I am part of a Rural Michigan Works Collaborative, so I meet frequently with UP, Northwest, and West Central, who are all also rural Michigan Works agencies to see what we can do to bolster services for rural areas. Our impact for 2025, it's our program year, so it's July 24 through June of 25. We've served over 1,200 employers, and that includes employers in this county. We've filled almost 4,000 jobs, trained almost 300 individuals. The barriers removed piece, almost 400. I'm going to circle back to that and why that's important, and why in our next annual report, that number will be significantly lower. Over 22,000 agency visits, almost 10,000 job seekers served. Those are individuals who come into our offices, one of which being in Lincoln in Alcona County. 235 at-risk youth served, and then 2,300 students reached through our various career expos, MicroQuest, etc. So I said I wanted to circle back to that barriers removed. And part of why I wanted to speak with you, why Sarah thought it would be a good idea for me to come and kind of tell you the issues that we are having, is this barriers removed piece. You can see below it says, thanks to barrier removal and employment success funding, that's a state program. In the latest budget cycle, that was cut from the budget. So that we do not currently have any barrier removal and employment success dollars. Those were used to help people obtain and retain employment. So let's say you had someone who just got a job at the local manufacturing facility and they needed steel toe boots to work there. Those are kind of expensive, especially if you've been out of work for a little while. We could help pay for those boots so that they could get to their job. Or let's say you have a single mom whose car just broke down, but she needs that car to get to work so she can pay for the house, the food, and care of kids, etc. If she has a job or is looking for a job, we would help her pay for that car to be repaired. Those are just two examples. The list goes on and on. It's very extensive. Things that we could help with had we been afforded the opportunity to have those dollars continuous. And I bring that up because I think a very important piece in this is advocacy, which I work on frequently. Just next week, I am headed to Lansing for our Michigan Works Advocacy Day, where I will speak with Rep. Cabot, Rep. Wharton, Senator Hoytinga, and Senator DeMoose. On that note, though, I think it's important to also have not just me being the one talking to these individuals about these programs and about the struggles that we're facing in programs that are cut. And this program is not the only one that was cut in the latest budget cycle. I'll get to the other one. There's one other that's cut completely and one other that's a haircut as well. I think it's important that it's not just me who's talking to our legislators, but our partners. And if you all meet with your legislators as well, it would be much appreciated if you talked about the programs that are in your county and the struggles that we are facing. So I will skip ahead to the next page. Label number 4. funding for WIOA has been steadily eroded by inflation. As you can see in this graph, the dollars that have been put into the WIOA program, which is a federal program, stands for Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, have been steadily going down as they are eroded by inflation. Even if something comes out as flat funding, you know, flat funding isn't necessarily flat funding, it's a decrease because our costs still go up. We still have to pay our people a cost of living adjustment. There's merit increases if applicable and if available budget wise. Rent costs go up, etc. The list goes on and on. So as things are eroded by inflation, even if there is flat funding, there is negative impacts on the local area as well. The next couple pages, I would encourage you to take some time and read them at your leisure if you are able to. It talks about our Shining Star Award, Kim, the Employer of the Year, which was Sheboygan County Sheriff's Department. That was for the full state, so I thought it was great that we had Northeast Michigan Employer awarded an Employer of the Year out of the whole state. The Impact Award winner, page 7 is on apprenticeship. So apprenticeship was also cut, for registered apprenticeship dollars were cut in the latest state budget cycle, to 0. So after June of this year, we do not have any registered apprenticeship dollars to support helping businesses get their programs registered with the United States Department of Labor, to pay for our apprenticeship specialists, to pay for the manager of that program, etc. So this is something that we have taken great strides in of late. And I'm very, very proud of the work that's being done. If you look at the picture on the top all the way to the right, that's Jeremiah, who's our commission specialist, who does fantastic, fantastic work. If you ever know of anyone who wants to get into an apprentice, send them his way. If you know of a business who wants to register their program with the USDOL, send them his way. He knows everything there is to know about registered apprenticeship programs. He's fantastic. But we can't do that program without apprenticeship dollars from the state. We are completely state and federally funded. I cannot draw money for his salary out of thin air. I don't go and do philanthropic galas to be able to afford these types of things. These are state and federal programs that are paid for with our tax dollars. On page 8 is the Going Pro Talent Fund. That also took a big hit in the latest budget cycle. So that, and if you look at the executive budget, which came out from Governor Whitmer last month, it was not in there at all. So Going Pro Talent Fund is a competitive grant program. It is put on through the state of Michigan, but the Michigan Works agencies do all the heavy lifting. We help all of the businesses put together their applications, submit them. If they are awarded the highly competitive grant, we help them work through all of the requirements. And a business would apply for this competitive grant if they were looking to upskill their employees, send them to some sort of training where they get some sort of certificate, credential, etc. And this money would pay for that training if they were awarded their full amount that they requested. So as you can see, we, last year, 2025, there were 7 awards received. Because of the cut, this last cycle, there was one for our entire 8 counties. They're not in your neighboring county, Escalade County. So we're very excited for them, for that company who was awarded. However, we submitted 14 applications. And so we would have very much like to see more companies in Northeast Michigan be able to take advantage of this program, but because of that cut, they're not able to. And because of that cut, there's also less dollars flowing to fund our staff at Michigan Works as well to help these businesses move through this process. Page 10, you can see JMG, that stands for Jobs for Michigan Graduates. That is the 4th piece that was, it wasn't not 100% cut, it was cut by 10 to 15% in the last state budget cycle. We locally saw a 15% cut. That helps students with leadership skills, finishing high school, moving on to post-secondary or entering the workforce, making sure that they have the tools that they need to succeed. And then the last page real quick, as a separate shout out real quick, we do a once a year event called Life Career Quest. It's a hands-on career exploration event, where it draws in over 1,200 students from over our entire area. We see, over 22 schools, over 82 exhibits, and they showcase over 125 occupations where it's hands-on. So if you're in the healthcare quadrant, you can watch the students do CPR on a dummy or pack a surgical pack. If you're in the technology quadrant, you will see students hopping up in the NSC Blue Goose and seeing all the technology in there. The Army brings a tank. It's a very, very fun time. It is May 14th this year in Gaylord at the Ellison Place. I encourage you, if you see that, you can check it out. May 14th at the Ellison Place. You can come anytime between, I'd say, you come between 9 and 1, you can catch the action. And I will give you a tour. You can just tell the people at the front that you're Corner County Commissioner or part of Corner County. And I will give you a VIP tour. So to summarize all of this information, we are seeing steady cuts. The graph I spoke about earlier on the WIOA being eroded by inflation. Last year, WIOA took a $10 million, or excuse me, a 10% cut overall, and Michigan saw a $9.4 million cut. And how that translated to us was a 33.5% cut locally for our 8 counties, which equated to over $850,000 that we were not awarded because of the state and federal government cuts overall. And when you look at that and how we serve participants and how we employ our talented staff, it makes it incredibly difficult to not only retain the staff that we have or to hire new staff, but also to serve our participants, which are job seekers and employers and individuals who want to return to training. So it all sounds very bleak, but I promise you we are still here to serve all of our 8 counties. We have an office in each of our 8 counties. Montmorency is by appointment only, but the rest of them all have an office. We have an office in Lincoln, right across from Sheriff's Department over there. And on that, I just want to stress the importance, if you are speaking with your legislators, please tell them about the services that we have, the programs that we operate. It is no small feat to deliver these services to our 8 counties. We have 53 open grant cycles right now, and we are constantly applying to more. I went out and got a grant writing certification so that we can write for even more, and we don't have to outsource that anymore. It's very, very important to me that we are able to continue serving participants and employers of all 8 of our counties. And to do that, I just ask for your assistance when you are able, please.
Do you have any, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Do you have any prepared, materials that we can just sign and send on to, reps and, the governor
Like a
or
letter of
whoever else?
support?
Yeah,
I'd be happy to get you one.
if you could formulate something like that, that would be easy for us to pass on individually or as a board, however you choose.
Fantastic. I will do that and get that over to you.
On page 3, I see this Alcona and the bar graph is like the lowest of utilization of stuff. Is that what that is? Is
Yeah.
there, do you have any kind of idea why, or it's not heavy participation, or?
Yes, so when you look at Alcona County, and the population, so when I look at our 8 counties of population, Alcona is like third to the bottom with about 10,800. Beyond that is just Montmorency County and Oscoda County following. So with that, it is an older population county. So a lot of individuals are past that working age. Whereas most of the individuals who come to us are within that working age. They lost their job and they want to find a new job. They have a job, but they don't like it. They want to find a different career. They want to return to training, things like that. Those are the individuals that we typically see walk into our office.
So if you had, does the data follow the person? So if we had an Alcona person who was getting training to Coletta and Iasco,
Mhm.
would that be an Iasco thing or would that be an Alcona thing?
If we enrolled them, Michigan Works Northeast, it would be Alcona.
Okay.
Mhm. But there is a Michigan Works directly to the south of us, Region 7B, and they cover Iosco County, so if they enrolled them, it would follow, Iosco County.
I see.
Mhm.
It just seems artificially low. I just looked at Oscoda County, not
Yeah.
that much different. Seems really low for what the amount of people. I'm just curious why.
Mhm.
But makes sense.
It's the age demographic, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We're a retired community around here.
Would it have anything to do, I mean, obviously Alpena and Iosco have big manufacturing centers where there'd be more opportunities to,
That does help
Place
draw
people.
in more,
yeah.
more workers, more job seekers, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, that was it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, if you, and I think that would be helpful to any other governments that you go to talk to. If you had a letter ready to go, like you said, sign it, forward on, that would be, ideal. So,
Understood.
yeah, and plus, you know better the information put in there than we do, because we can't just say, we like Michigan Works, you know, love Commissioner Breggy, you know. There's gotta be a little more detail than that, but,
Understood.
all right, cool, thanks. You can forward it to the clerk, or look us up on the website, individually, however you wanna do it.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, how long have you been with the Michigan Works now?
8.5 years,
8.5 years, so you've just been CEO of how long?
2 years.
2 years. I'm not even sure. Sorry.
Thank you. You're right. You don't need to do Jennifer, we talked about that finance,
You want action on it now or?
now we'll do it during the planning. Well, actually, I was supposed to. Okay, so I need to add a new item to new business, is the change for the credit card policy for the county visa, limits. Talked about that in the list here. No one finished business, so we'll go into claims.
I'd like to make a motion to approve pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between February 4th, 2026 and March 3rd, 2026 for check numbers 160048 to 160320 and e-checks 2846 to 2866 for a grand total of $1,089,291.20.
Seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Small.
Yeah.
Brumman.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Yax.
Yes.
Brady.
Yes. MCOG GIS contract. Stephanie, what do we do with that? They tell you to put that on there and I forgot what it is, or?
Yeah, John was sure that this had been done last year.
Oh,
It was discussed, the last contract of any sort that we have with NEMCOG. With the GIS was back in 2024. So, you discussed it and it was never approved.
Oh, okay,
So it basically just needed to be put on for final approval,
Okay.
signature.
then we need a motion.
Yep.
So moved. Or. Move supported. Any discussion?
The annual. Annually updated one? Yeah, 24.
Our contract with them.
For GIS services.
Right.
Yeah. We did that. I feel like we did too, but.
No.
I don't, I
Not
even-
find it in a minute.
no, I even looked in the minutes, I didn't see anything.
But I would think we would want to sign an updated one.
You are. You will.
The one in the packet is from
24.
2024, is dated.
Where is that at?
Old back.
Under Judge Bowman's, signature.
Last week's packet.
Hmm. I didn't look at that date on there. I wonder if that was just an error. I will ask, Teresa Huff. I'll ask her about that date being in there. I don't know if it was just left in there when she sent it. Or if you guys discussed this and approved this back in 2024, but you never got Adam's signature.
We just change the motion to include a new date on it, that would cover it.
That's fine.
I'll amend my motion, to include it for today's date.
Whatever, maybe.
Date, whatever.
Any more discussion? Motion roll call.
Yax,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
Next up, vision age out 26 across the board. This is, Stephanie, why don't you go ahead and talk about this?
So hang on, I'm playing catch up here. When we were with Priority Health, and I might get these mixed up, but overall, your dental ended at 19, your vision ended at 21, and your health ended at 26
For dependents.
for dependents.
Yes.
Then, unbeknownst to us, that when we had switched to MetLife, they had changed the age for dental up to 26 also. And it was actually my dependent that we even caught it for some reason. Anyhow, so they have changed the life and the dental to 26 years old. We make it a part of our policy to just make vision, dental, and life 26 years old across the board. It's a lot easier to track in our office. Acrisure will notify us all at once that, hey, they're terming out for all health benefits, health, dental, vision. In your packets, it shows that it affected 4 offices for a total of $533 for the entire year to have dependents all age out for all benefits for health insurance related purposes at the age of 26 years old.
So let's pretend we change carriers next year. I don't want to, let's pretend we do. Does it potentially have a different rule
It
than
could,
this?
it could.
Okay.
With the Blue Care Network. And, if we left MetLife and we went with a different insurance carrier and say we were back to Delta Dental, they may not opt for that option.
Right.
But through Acrisure and MetLife, that is an option. And with Acrisure itself, we can make that, even though it's VSP, a part of our plan that we allow for that. But MetLife allows for the dental up to 26 and Blue Care Network, age of 26. VSP, we have the option for their vision for the age of 26.
So does this require a motion to
Because we would have to
approve that or?
update our plan, to allow for that.
Oh, okay, so we have an official plan document that we can
Right.
change.
And like I said, being that it was my dependent that we noticed it on, we were paying for the family anyway. So a lot of these offices were already budgeted for that dependent to be getting VSP. It's so minor in cost, it doesn't stand out, I should say.
I see. So how does this motion need to be worded?
That the age out limit for health, dental, and vision, all age out at 26 years old,
Is it in
if you approve
the,
it.
okay. Then I will make that motion.
Support.
Who supported, any more discussion? Just with the caveat that, that we all understand that if we change carriers, it's gonna change.
Correct.
We're not gonna pay extra money just because we said that today. All right. Then we'll do a roll call.
Yax,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes. And it looks like you're up again.
Me?
Yep, Jeff Linderman, Greenbush Township, for your FIA.
Thought he was gonna be present today. So if he's not going to be present to speak on his behalf, my understanding was he was going to appeal the FOIA cost that was done. So typically, a lot of a standard FOIA request will say, well, if it's gonna be in excess of $50, I would like a cost estimate of what it's going to be. That's fine for a lot of FOIA requests, but sometimes until you're actually doing the FOIA request and putting your time into it, or whoever's time it is taking it, you can't always predict an exact cost. So when IT John ran all of the emails that were requested in whatever format, and that's an IT world, I don't know how he does that. It took about 4 hours for him to do it. So he's the only one that can do it. So it's 4 hours of his time at his cost and his salary, plus the cost of the thumb drive. And the total came out to $158 for the FOIA request. And my understanding was, I said, okay, get me something in writing and I'll submit it to the board. And I thought he was gonna be present, so I don't know if you wanted put it under business for the next agenda and see if he
I think
appears.
Carolyn would like to speak to this issue.
Okay.
The discussion of the fact that it might be more took place early on in February. In fact, I think it took place in January also. It was determined it was going to be more, and from my perspective, I felt that a communication should have been sent to Mr. Linderman saying, at this time, we anticipate it will exceed the $50. And even if they chose to say, we expect the range will be between 100 and 200 or whatever but at least to identify the fact it would be more. And I guess at this time, I would like to move that we modify the charges to be not to exceed $50 as was agreed upon, because we didn't respond. It has an implication that we agreed to his $50. And I will so move that we modify the fee to $50.
In this instance only. Right?
Pardon?
And this
On this one, there
one time, yeah,
Yes,
that's
one
what I don't want to.
will be more, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'll second that. Who just seconded, any more discussion?
You're really well, so president, so yeah.
Well, it's not, that's by making the entitled on this one, this time only. And Carolyn pointed out, that, you know, we have some responsibility in not, providing the right information or enough information upfront, so I think.
Once we knew it was going to be more, and we knew that at the beginning.
Yeah.
He should have at least been told it will exceed the $50. We don't know by how much at this time, but will exceed the $50.
May I say something?
You all know my love for this gentleman.
Yeah.
Because these kind of FOIA requests are becoming more common, I think that John will be able to give a better guesstimate in the future. But depending on how many of your emails have to be scanned and how he processes them, you know. Like I said, it's becoming more common.
I don't challenge John's figure at all.
Right.
And in fact, I expected it to be higher, quite frankly. But, we wanted it to be higher. But, the gentleman put the $50 in, and we did not say maybe it'll be higher. So that's why my motion says that we acknowledge or modify that the fee, the invoice to be $50.
And see, this says appeal, so is he appealing it or what's
He's
it?
appealing the $158.
He is. Do we, somewhere in writing have that?
Yeah.
It's in your packet.
It's in the back.
He sent a letter, it's, yeah, it's right there.
Send an email.
What was John, yeah.
What?
John got something?
Look at Larry's last work and say that, get $50 worth. Or.
Well, here's the thing, you wanna go on and have more, strife and frustration, or just going $50 if you don't?
Let him get $50 and just go on, and
It's just a one-time good deal, and,
from now
in the
on.
future, we'll be more diligent about providing you the upfront cost.
Isn't that hard to predict though?
It is, when we do these searches, it's a Boolean search and you read through whatever they want. And say, and or between this date, this date, this date. Once you pull it out, you realize, well, we pulled too much information, you go back to which we did. And say, well, can you limit the search if you want to? And then he wanted it in PDF format, so we had to purchase a program to convert them into PDF at that point. $50 is fine with me this time, and we'll just do better next time. As soon as we see that they want to limit the search, we can let them know ahead of time that it is going to be much more expensive if they.
Or at least a minimum of from here to here.
That's what I'm wondering, is
Yeah.
it okay in the FOIA rules to say it could cost up to X amount of dollars?
Right.
Like, I put a ceiling on it, like say every FOIA request could be up to $500, but it might only be $75.
Yeah, I think it's very reasonable. I think it's a great idea.
But you have to look in the FOIA rules and make sure you can do
You
that.
have to be able to justify your cost.
No, afterwards, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. You'll have to have a document that says what went into it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not sure the FOIA rules, so.
I don't know either, but I think that
Well,
would
some are
be,
set by the county, some are standard.
that would be a way
Right.
to cover everything and say, hey, it could be up to this much. Put a ceiling on it there, but then you got people who probably wanna come in and have $10,000 of the FOIA request, right? If they want a lot of information.
That's my caution, if you don't
Yeah.
mind saying, because if they come in and FOIA 6 months worth of body camera footage,
Yeah,
we could be talking tens of thousands of dollars.
And all that. well, I'm not proposing we do any of that right now, I'm just for the purpose of discussion. Anyway,
I agree with Craig, give them $50 worth and charge the rest. And send a separate bill to him.
No, we learned a lesson
I
here.
know
and-
it's been full. Just,
Mhm.
this is what, the third or fourth or fifth or seventh or something we've gotten.
well, and we don't need to go down that rabbit hole right now, it's just, here's the motion on the table, are we gonna approve 50 or not, so. Any more discussion?
Roll call.
We'll call it in.
Johnston,
Yes.
Small,
No,
Yachts,
Yes.
Brevin,
Yes,
Brady.
Yes.
Okay, do we have a per hour? Is that what you do?
I don't know, Stephanie figures that out.
I better remember that.
And this is even at a lower, because really you're supposed to take his hourly rate. It's the lowest paid person in the office that can perform the job, which is, he's the only one that can do it. So it's his hourly rate. And you can charge for a percentage of right down to your health benefits, your retirement. By the time I figure all that out, I just do John's flat hourly rate. If I want to get technical, go down that whole road.
So how many times out of 10 can you look at something and go, that's gonna take me more than $50 worth of my time?
I knew that right off the bat of the request.
I mean, if these are gonna be more common email type requests like that, I could once a year figure out all of his health benefits and his hourly wage and charge a flat rate fee for just John. Cause he's getting more involved in having these COIAs are going to him or the sheriff's department or the treasurer's office or the building department, but he's turning into a big one. John is.
well, and I think that the, to say to whoever is going, to Mr. Smith, that we anticipate this will exceed his or her, whatever they put in their request, you've put them on notice.
Yes.
And so if you come in with a $200 bill or a $400 bill, they know that you anticipated it would be in excess of they may say $25. Let us know if it'll be over $25. Who knows? But, let's finish seconds.
Okay. Next up, Family Resource Center, pinwheel planting. I was approached at church Sunday by the calendar.
I wonder if they turn it up.
No, it's kind of Jennifer. Oh, that's silly.
Jane or
I'm terrible.
Sally.
Anyway, the director for the organization that wants to put these pinwheels out. And they just want permission from us officially to go ahead and use the grounds. The letter in the packet, I forwarded it.
Yep.
Right?
There it is.
Lisa Clearwood, that's the one. So. Anyway, looks like it will be just like we've done in previous years.
No, it's, excuse me if I may, it's a little different because they also want to do flags. And she's working with Dave Hanson to make sure that the flag poles go in such place. Before they just do pinwheels, which go into the ground 4 inches, I don't know. But they also want to do flag poles.
How big a flagpole?
Well, just a stick in the ground,
Just.
but you've got power lines down there.
In
And so that has to be taken into account.
other words, Miss Dig is gonna have to come.
Yeah, I would expect that Dave will contact these done, and if that will be indicated now. I think these things are further down than what these would go, which is still complicated.
It's a free service, so it's a free service to call them.
Oh. You're correct.
They'll be there for the month of April. And then they, so. I'll make a motion to approve the use of the ground.
Support.
Move forward it. Any more discussion?
If you would tag on to your motion that, it will be cleared by our building departments that supervise that. So if anybody else wants to do flags, they realize they can't just send a notice to us. They've got to also get clearance and the sanction, if you will.
So the use of the property with approval from Dave Hanson. Yep. Okay, well, that's what the motion is, huh?
Thank you.
Man, we really get it Robert Jules around here. You ever watch the kids from, not to digress here, but the kids from FFA? Holy smokes. It's a whole operation. Yeah, you stand up, sitting down, it's crazy. It's insane. Next item.
Motion carried.
Oh, we need to go down.
Well, let's, yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. I just assumed everybody loved it.
Credit card.
Change credit card policy for all county Visa. We were, in particular approached by, Jennifer Lewick. The cost of things are going up, hotel stays and everything else, and, $1,000 credit card limit really doesn't get you anywhere nowadays, so. Finance discussed today changing all the county credit cards to the limit of $5,000, and I would like to make that motion right now. We support it. Any discussion?
Most of them already are at 5,000.
There are, yes, I think there's
So-
only a few that aren't.
Yes, so. The rest of the ones that are at 1,000, I'll keep look at all.
It's just her, I think, it's just to try to work.
Okay, well, we'll modify the finance policy to read 5,000. As a rule, all right, any more discussion? Roll call.
Johnston,
Yes.
Yax,
Yes,
Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes. Going into the finance report, Sheila, we have one piece of money we have to move.
Just one. I just need to do a bottom line amendment for the sheriff's department for their AFLAC line item. It's for $6,900, so we're just gonna increase the transfer from fund balance. And then increase his line item to 69 for the short-term AFLAC, so.
So moved. Who seconded? Any discussion? Roll call.
Brumman,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Yax,
yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
And I'll make that amendment today and then I'll send Scott a copy.
Okay. Another report for finance and, I'll give Scott a little update. I'm working on trying to get the sam.gov situation worked out. I spent about
That's
2 hours on it yesterday. And what I'm meeting now is they want $645 to participate in sam.gov from now on.
She didn't give me a price last time I talked to her.
You get to a point and it says, what's your Visa card? Basically, so. I have to work, we're gonna have a part 2 finance meeting this afternoon and work through details and what I wanna be sure of is when I make the payment is it does what we want it to do. Because I also have an account with sam.gov through my regular work
Okay.
for getting, part work and government work for a business, so.
I sympathize because I struggled with it for about a whole day last week.
Yeah. I tried to get her on that paywall 4 different ways and it bring me right back to it, so.
I tried to, the same thing. I tried the last 3 days and.
Yes,
Actually,
looks like we just gotta bite the bullet and pay.
It's a trap to get you to do it.
that's exactly what it is. And they said they have changed their,
Yep. And it'll be that way for the rest of, every year for the rest of
Yeah.
forever, so. Whatever grant you get takes $645 off the top, I guess,
Yeah.
so. What else, finance? Nothing finance, other than that, besides we're just trying to get, blood from the stone. Next up, personnel report. I'll take lead on this, Greg, if you don't mind. So, the concept of a executive secretary for the Board of Commissioners has been talked about and we voted to go ahead last year and move forward on something like that. So we had, like probably 25 different applicants for the position where we posted it. And, personnel narrowed it down to 3, well, 4, one didn't want to, interview the other 3. So we have it down to one candidate that we think is really, gonna be a benefit to our county and, Mrs. Butterson, trying to remember her first name. Chelsea Butterson. Checks all the right boxes and, personnel I'd like to make a motion to, enter into full-time employment, with Chelsea at a rate of 45,000 per year plus, all the benefits, according to a full-time position.
Support.
Move to support it. Discussion.
I would add that what Adam said, I was involved with it throughout and, did a really good job of talking with several candidates. And Chelsea ended up really fitting all the, everything we were looking for, has good experience in a school setting, which is a lot like our governmental setting, multiple department management, has a real good handle on budget, accounting, has a bachelor's degree in business administration with accounting emphasis, I think, is what everyone said. So, yeah, my affirmation.
You want to get that motion to starting date?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, I don't know,
2 weeks was what she wanted to do.
2 weeks, but I don't think we have to put a start date. We're just gonna approve and then start whenever it works out,
Yeah.
basically. Any more discussion? All right, let's do a roll call.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yeah.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes,
Yax.
Yes.
motion carries. Anything else we have to do with personnel right now?
No. No, we haven't happened.
Okay.
Leave the electrical contractor.
Oh, we have to report on that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Building department. So building department, we went through the same thing, interview process with Dan Bathier and identified a qualified candidate who was hired yesterday, or the day before, after the
Yeah.
background check.
Right, background check.
Was beginning training with the current one we have on contract. They're gonna side by side it for a week or two and then they'll be hitting the ground running. He's a local guy from Barton City, from our county, so. Everybody who works here's gotta live in Barton City, I think.
That helped things out a lot.
Barton City.
That's right. Should move the county
Yeah,
seat
county
over
seat should go up,
Yeah.
you don't have to drive so far.
I'll make that motion.
there.
So, Yeah, that was done interdepartmental, so, they're very happy to have, a new electrical inspector. He's retired up from downstate. And he's very, very talented and gonna do a good job.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Okay, treasurer's office is very busy at this time. I had my judicial hearing on February 10th for, 99 parcels that went into judgment for foreclosure. The people that are in forfeiture have until March 31st to, pay their property taxes in full and be able to redeem it, so we do not foreclose on the properties. On March 1st, the 2024 taxes went into forfeiture. And then on March 3rd, the 25 taxes went delinquent. So right now in my office, we're dealing with 3 different tax years. The township treasurers are right now, closing their books and, exporting their rolls to us so that we can import them and then do checks and balances and be able to settle with the townships. We don't have everybody's right now. They're still in the process of working on all that. So if anybody is needing information on their 25 taxes, they're just gonna have to wait a week or 2 to be able to get, the payoff on, what they owe for, the March payoff. Trina sent the engagement letter to Anderson and Techman to the auditors. We are gonna be, audited on April 20th through the 24th. It is an on-site audit. And, that's all good to go. I know, probably, Stephanie will report on a little bit that I know Trina's already working on uploading stuff to the, auditors, and, I will be working on that as well as soon as I get through my settlement with the township treasurers. And I think that's it for me.
Thank you. Clerk's report.
Yeah, Sheila and I spoke earlier. I haven't had a chance to start the audit yet. And, Trina has been working away at it a little bit by a little bit, but it goes into this shared file that we can both see from the offices. And we went over the sheet of what they're requesting, so no one's cross-doing work. I enjoyed sitting in on the board secretary interviews. I was happy to set those interviews up for you. And now I request at this time that you've made a decision that personnel should contact the other applicants to inform them.
Can you give me a list and some phone numbers? I'll do it. Is that official or you're being silly?
No, I really don't want to.
That's fine. Set it up.
Yeah, call first, so you get it.
I'll do it.
Okay, and also, yeah, I did meet the new electrical inspector this morning. He was in the office filling out all of his paperwork, so I think he's all set over there. Again, I sat in when the interviews, when Dan hired Jen, but I don't know anything about electrical inspection, even though my husband's an electrician, but anyways, I don't know if he was gonna inform the other gentleman that he had talked to, so.
Yeah, I'll let him know that.
Okay,
I'll
thank
let
you.
Dan know to make sure if he hasn't done that already.
Okay, then at finance, we discussed also the MMP fund. We need a little bit more information on that, but I think as far as all the reimbursements as well for your per diems, what we paid to the Alpena treasurer's office and whatnot for the monthly costs and the initial setup. I'm just down to your mileage, and then I'll work on submitting that for reimbursement so we don't miss out on anything. I almost have the early voting agreements for each township finished. I just gotta make a couple of tweaks, and I'm hoping to have those out by the end of the week because they have to take those agreements to their board meetings to have them approved by their board, and then I have to have them submitted to the Bureau of Elections by April 1st, which may or may not happen. Trina and I attended a conference in Shannon Creek last Thursday and Friday, and the Bureau of Elections was there, and it's called Train the Trainer because this year the county clerk has to do trainings for all of the election inspectors again. But Not anything new, really. I mean, after proposal 2 went into effect, we've pretty much gone through the hiccups and worked out the kinks with the 90s at early voting, so nothing really new there. The last thing I have to report on is, I think a couple of meetings ago, I mentioned that even though it seems like we have less court, more comes out of less court. I don't know why. The paperwork's just, lots of jury trials and cancellations and jury relief. So we ended up having to split the circuit court and the family court in my office. So Trina's now taking on the family court also, so her plate's full. It was very hard to keep up one court clerk doing all of the court related duties. So they kind of split the duties up so that we can maintain being caught up. Other than that, I think that's all I have.
Okay. Then we can move on to the sheriff's report.
Well, I'll tell you, it's nice to be here today. It's, a blessed plan, can't even explain, but nice to be here. Little bit of history is that I think at one point Martin City was considered, for, obviously, I don't know if you ever happened. I think at one point Black River became way too big too, so. For Martin City, I think when it was called Mud Lake was considered. Was in consideration, I think. So it's my, you can change it, so. I wanted to comment real quickly that Steph did a nice job of describing FOIA. FOIA is a very complicated situation, but she did a nice job of explaining to the board the billing process on the least, the lowest paid qualified person to prepare those types of things. And unfortunately, sometimes that's the highest paid people around, whether it's IT or the sheriff or under sheriff in our regard. But again, FOIA requests, we would send out an estimate on those. And that estimate can sometimes come in higher or lower, so that's kind of the caution on that. But IT stuff gets very expensive when we start putting those things together. And then I wanted to thank Steph and Sheila for taking care of that budget adjustment that kind of got overlooked when we did the budget last year, so I appreciate that. Mine looks a little different than yours. It's in big print, but I wrote a bunch of stuff on it, so bear with me a little bit, but I'll get through it pretty quick. I went to the Washington DC the end of January, 1st of February, and it was very cold and there was lots of snow and most people don't know what to do with it. So the sidewalks were covered with it. There were paths to walk, but not shoveled or cleaned or anything like we do around here. So it's a little bit difficult to trails. Yeah, that's what all they were, is deer trails. You know, the steps up to the Lincoln Monument was just a trail. You know, there were trails from monument to monument. The pool between the Lincoln Monument and Washington Monument, the big long one that you see Forrest Gump swimming in, was frozen solid. There are people out there ice skating, so that was pretty neat to see. I guess it's only about that. I didn't go out there, I didn't want to slip and fall. I was there with 3 other sheriffs from Michigan and our director. It's pretty neat. I went to there was a bunch of seminars. I went to one was like about missing person investigations. I went to one about ethics, death notifications, active violence response, and mental health for our officers. The neat thing about a conference like this, I know I went to one other one, and it was in Grand Rapids, and I never thought I'd get to another national one, but I've had the opportunity now to go to this one, is that it doesn't matter, really. We have the same problems all over the country, at sheriff's offices, you know, and it was always retention, hiring and retention for a while. It's starting to clear up a little bit, but now we're working on mental health of our officers quite a bit, and obviously dealing with active violence like that. I got to see some of the sites around town. I got cut short a little bit and had to come back early. One of the neat sheriffs I met was Sheriff Dutton from Helena, Montana. If that doesn't ring a bell, Dutton is the name off of Yellowstone. And he is actually the sheriff in the capital city of Helena. Very neat guy, real Americano, real cowboy. And as I hear, he may or may not be running for governor out there, which is also pretty neat if you take consideration of the TV show. He says the show did not do him any favors whatsoever.
Oh, no.
As far as tourism and people coming out there and everybody wanting to move to Montana. On the opposite side, I got to sit down and talk to Sheriff McFadden from Charlotte, North Carolina. And he's an interesting fellow. He's from a way different community than Helena, Montana. He's from a metropolitan area.
a very Democratic area as opposed to Republican, and he's got a lot of business going on down there, a lot of big stuff going on, including you may have saw the woman who was viciously attacked on the subway train and stabbed, and it was all caught on camera. That happened in this community. So there's sheriffs there from all over the country in different sizes. I didn't find many from smaller places than me, but a lot from bigger. The highlight of my time down there, even though it was cut short, was Deputy Dingledines from Mankato, and he's one of the first officers I trained here in Alcona County. He's now a captain with the Park Police down in Washington, D.C. And the Park Police has 3 branches. One is in Washington, one in New York City, and one in San Francisco. And he's worked up to the rank of captain, which if you're not aware, that's pretty high up there. And I got a hold of him a couple of days before I went down, and I haven't heard from him in like 15 years. Within a couple of days' notice, he arranged for me to come down and take a tour around, not just his jurisdiction, but some of the buildings that he patrols and has authority over. And he also called ahead and got me a helicopter ride around Washington, D.C., which was awesome. I didn't know it at the time, but the Potomac has a major sewage flooding problem going on right now, and we flew right over that. I didn't know the flood was going on at the time with the sewage main break, but it was. So about after an hour helicopter ride around DC, which felt like we were breaking the law because we were too close to stuff, or I felt like we were way too close to stuff that we shouldn't have been there. And around the Potomac, they dropped me off at the airport where we landed, and then Captain Dingledine took me right to the airport, and I hopped on the airplane and flew back to Detroit. So great time seeing him. He's really a great success story that came out of Alcona County and started here. It was nice to reconnect with him, and it was the first time I've been to DC. I look forward to going back on my own sometime because it was a ball and I missed a lot. There's a lot more I wanted to see, and I will see it sometime. So on the 18th, I hosted my first Sheriff's Association meeting as the president, and we had a legislative update in the 5 district reps gave the reports from things going on around the state. We do that on Zoom, so it's not as cool as doing it in person, but it still was kind of neat to do. And the news, I screwed up too bad. Everything went smooth. We did victim services on the 23rd here at my office. The 24th, I went to the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Association, Lower Peninsula Law Enforcement Advisory Committee. If you remember, I got on that committee like last year, and we meet twice a year for that. And we kind of keep trends going for what's going on in law enforcement and how to reduce risk management in our line of work, which is, as you know, we are probably the highest risk along with corrections for municipalities. 25th, I went to the Union State of the Union address. I was invited down there by Representative Cabot, and I hung out with him most of the time. I got to hang out with Speaker Hall a little bit in his office, which is huge. His office is basically the whole size of this basement here. It's pretty neat. We had some hors d'oeuvres there with them and had a good time. There were 8 other Michigan sheriffs there at the State of the Union. I think a lot of Republican reps were trying to plug the place with law enforcement. So we had a good showing there. It was nice to see sheriffs there. Some in uniform and some in not. We're not. We had a chance to talk to 2 reps. I mentioned last year that I met one of the reps that has a place here in Harrisville. And I got to meet up with her. As a matter of fact, she was asking me if I was going to be there. So we got a chance to talk a little bit. And I told her that we stalked her a little bit and found out where her place was just we knew for future reference. I met another rep who has a hunting camp in Barton City of all places. And he and I have never met before that day, but it's pretty neat to find out that we got state reps that know where Alcona County is and we're on the map of town. The best part of the whole thing really wasn't the governor's speech. It really was the pomp and ceremony and circumstance that went on before, because that's actually a session of the House of Representatives, and they have to formally invite in and escort in the other house. The Senate, they also invite and escort in the justices from the appellate court and from the Supreme Court, along with some other branches of government. It was really quite a lot to see. There's an hour of ceremony before they even turn on the TV, because nobody cares about any of that. Although I thought it was the neatest part to watch all that go on. They send reps from the House of Reps to these other places in the building to get the people and bring them back. It's quite a neat ceremony. Sorry, my paper flipped a long ways when you flip it over. So the next day we had a murmur workshop in Lansing, and I went to a couple of different seminars that had or breakout sessions. One was cybersecurity and digital dangers. A little bit over my head, but it it did apply, and if you're not aware, they do cover us for digital breaches and things like that. Not just financially, but for getting us back up and running. So I'll talk to John and mention that to him, but, you know, some things that they recommend is when you have that breach and you think you just screwed up, don't unplug. Because if you unplug, you lose the data on what they were after and how they got it and how to fix it. So don't unplug. And, but yeah, they help us get back up and running, which is a big thing. They also will help us with ransoms, because if we get like a ransomware situation where we have to pay off, they'll work with us on that. I went to a drone risk management. I do have a couple of drones that we fly occasionally over there, so I went to a risk management class on that. That was a little bit different because I talked more about bigger cities who have drones that are flying out as a response to emergencies, whether it's a shooting, a crash, or a fire. But they're sending drones up automatically from dispatch. They're hitting the button and they're automatically flying over there, not with a pilot, just automated, and they're getting there, assessing the scene for what resources need to come, and they're doing that. Another big thing is going on is Amazon packages up to 14 pounds are being delivered around the Detroit metro area from 2 different Amazon distribution plants by drones, all automated, no pilots. So pretty neat. And the biggest one I went down there for, and I talked about it quite a bit yesterday at our courthouse security meeting, is about CPLs in government buildings and whether they're allowed or not allowed. And we'll probably talk about that a little bit more. I'm going to speak with the judge at some point about some employees that we have here that are authorized by the judge to carry inside the building. But a little bit broader, this board probably needs to think about some kind of administrative order, whether you're going to allow or not allow staff to carry. And it's not really the ones that we know so much about, that the court knows who's allowed to carry and who's not, because the judge has made that authorization, which is okay. The concern is who's carrying it, we don't know about. And we don't have as big an issue as some other places, but ordinance officers and inspectors all around the state are carrying, and they're carrying under the authority of the county or city or village that they work for. And that becomes problematic because they're just not trained carrying weapons and using them in the course of their duty. Really, to keep it brief, unless you've been through a use of force continuum all the way from officer presence and showing up in a uniform to deadly force and everything in between, including de-escalation, what are you going to do with the gun? You're not left with anything other than arguing or shooting. You're not left with any of the other intermediate things. And those intermediate things are the things we need to be making happen. And this is what police are trained every day and retrained in every year, but your average clerk in one of these offices is not. So
like code enforcers and zoning administrators you talked about running around with guns?
I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
A little bit further was back in closer to home is dog catchers, animal control, uncertified police officers that are out there carrying. They may or may not be carrying under the authority of a sheriff or a chief, but they better darn well have the training that the police have. The neat spot in between there is your Department of Corrections officers and even your local corrections officers who have had a level of training on use of force and de-escalation up to and including deadly force. Those folks probably have had as close to police training as anybody out there and probably should be authorized to carry. So there's quite a bit of school of thought on it. And you know, so the knee-jerk reaction from the insurance world is we're just not gonna let them do it. The kickback is we have a Second Amendment right to protect ourselves. Administratively, employers do have the right not to allow people to carry while they're working for them. We have the absolute right, we or the board has the absolute right to not allow them to carry while they're working. But then also we probably better provide some level of security for those folks if they're working. So there's a lot of give and take, a lot of things to think about. And like any other gun topic, it can get heated. And it did at this, you know, one of the sheriffs and I had a pretty robust conversation with the fireman who decided that he needed to carry on every call he went to because the world's dangerous. It is, it's a dangerous place. You know, if you wanted to carry a gun on every call you went to, we recommended going to a police academy. So that wasn't received very well by him, but oh well. Yeah, so I talked about the courthouse security meeting yesterday. We talked about some of the doors that have gotten upgrades. We talked about phase 2 of the active violence training, which we're going to do office by office in person. So that we can have a realistic view of what you're going to do in your office, or as it was brought up at the meeting, different places around the building. If something happens, if you're not in your office, let's say if you're in the courtroom, or if you're in the commissioner's room, or somewhere else in the building. And like I said, we talked about the CPLs, we talked very briefly about the courthouse security project and the future of kiosks. I didn't make the 911 authority board meeting yesterday, so maybe Carol Drummond can fill us in on that, because I don't know what happened at it. Do we even have a meeting? Do we have a quorum?
We just have a minute.
I did make it back by 3 o'clock. We had a command staff meeting yesterday. And I brought in an ethics discussion that I got from the National Sheriff's Conference. They really took a pretty good look at that, and a different look than we're used to. For ethics, whether it's in law enforcement or whatever, we bring people in and say, here's the rules, here's our rules of the workplace, and here's the laws. Don't break them, or this is what's gonna happen to you. And that doesn't help anything out. People still break the rules and they still break the laws. So they took a different look at it, and more of it getting into your moral well-being. And the bottom line is a bad apple's a bad apple, and none of this is gonna help them out. But it also reinforced that people are people, they're humans, and they make mistakes, and they are still redeemable after mistakes. We can't be throwing away people just for one mistake here and there. We gotta correct it, and we gotta address it, we can't just throw them away. So it was a pretty good discussion. Like I say, I took that back from Washington when I was there. Monday, the MDOC called and said, we're gonna be in town and wonder if we could pop in and do a DOC inspection Wednesday morning. So they were here this morning. The preliminary report's pretty good. We talked to them about some things moving forward as far as maybe keeping some inmates here overnight from time to time, because we haven't been doing that at all for 4 or 5 years now. Their recommendation is keep them up. They didn't know work with us on whatever. So it wasn't all negative. It wasn't as positive as I was hoping either, but, I think we did well on our inspection. We won't know for a day or two until we get back and review all the documentation, but they like to inspect us because our inspection is a little bit shorter because we don't have food services and medical services. Medical and food services are the two big things that they look at along with your fire procedures. And our fire procedures have not changed one bit. We still have inspections and we still look at and we still replace fire extinguishers and communities. So they take their documentation from us and they go back, review it, and then they give us a report in a couple of days. And I don't expect that any blemishes on that, because we haven't had blemishes in the 8 years that I've been sheriff. So it's been good. I only put one upcoming event on the list here, right? I have a couple. March 25th, I'm coordinating with the school and we're doing child ID kits at elementary. We haven't done them in a few years, which is taking the chance for the kids that we did a few years ago to move up and get some new children in there. So we'll be doing that on the 25th. That's kind of sponsored by the Victim Services Unit. That helps them buy those kits, and I'll take people on there and we'll run fingerprints and DNA on these children and send the kits home with the parents like we have at the fairgrounds or what we've done at the school before. We don't keep any biometric data on any of these children, other than the count. We count how many kids that we do, but we send it all home with the parents. They keep it, and in the event of an emergency, they're able to pull that out and help law enforcement, hopefully save their child. Commissioner Brumman's been on me about Police Week, which is coming up May 10th through 16th, and I haven't been ignoring her. As you can see, I've been rather busy. But that's coming right up, and she's in discussions with some things to do for that. And if you're not aware, that's to recognize law enforcement, but also more especially to recognize law enforcement as fallen, and not just fallen in the line of duty, but fallen afterwards. And this is a great opportunity for us to remember Al DeChunis that worked for several years with us. He went and did his psych evaluation when I did to go to the police academy. He had to go through the research academy, and we became very good friends when he did that. He worked for us for almost 20 years before he passed away. And he was still employed with Alpena County when he passed away. And if you recall, his wife was a county commissioner here for quite some time, and has since moved away from the area. But very good people, and we have a plaque out in front of our office by a crimson maple tree that we bought in his honor. And there's a plaque by the tree for Al DeChunis. I ain't talking about Al because it chokes me out. I think we mentioned the CANPAC. CANPAC's the ones putting out the pinwheels for child abuse and neglect. The other thing they got going on, I just got emailed before I came over here, is they're putting on a trivia night down here at Shopmakers to raise funds to combat child abuse and neglect in Alpena County. So I'll get some flyers out on that, and I'll push that pretty hard to everybody to try to get to that. And bring your checkbooks. I think they'll probably have a silent auction and a couple other things. And bring your noggins, try to win. It's a trivia night, so it's important to try to win that too. We're all competitive folks. I think that's all I have, unless there's a question.
Thank you. All right, we're going to committee report to start right today.
Okay, so. We just had an opportunity to meet with Jennifer Rigg. Jennifer is the new executive director for Develop Iasco. They've expressed some interest. Rich Castle talked to me before the end of last year. He's no longer with them in his new job. He's not the president anymore. I don't know how he's working with Develop Iasco, but they'd had some interest from municipalities in Alcona townships, mainly. I don't know if any of the village or the city has about joining Develop Iasco. And I appreciated Rich reached out and said he didn't want to step on the REDC in any way, shape or form, wanted to partner with us in any way to provide any kind of services. So then he left, or Chris Martin, who was executive director, had left, and this new girl, Jennifer Riggs, came in. So we had about an hour and a half discussion yesterday about what that would look like. As luck would have it, Doug Cheek called me at the same time, so we had a three-way call with her and him and I, and we had a good discussion. I'll bring Dave up more because Dave sits on our ADC committee. And just what that's gonna look like over the next year and how we're gonna come up with Develop Iasco and bring some good services. They're already doing the grant writing service, as you know, we have that scholarship, so that's been well received. And that, what that has done is brought them some visibility in municipalities. And they see, wow, what things you offer, and REDC was very focused on broadband, so we haven't done any of that kind of thing. There's a fee, I think it's $1 per person for to join, for municipalities, I believe it's $200 for businesses to join. So, I had a great discussion with her, and they're very sensitive to not basically blanking out Alcona, so we're gonna work together and see what that comes about in the next few months. Brownfield Authority, so remember a few months ago, I came aboard and you allowed me to be signed for State Park Grocery in the gas station, so they're moving along. They're just, I think I just saw an email here from last week that they're getting approval for a phase 2 sampling and analysis plan. So they're checking the dirt and making sure everything's good, so they're moving along with that well. We also met with Curtis Township people, and I know you weren't in on this, Terry, but it was for rec plan. So it was Linda Downer from NEMCOG. So remember the rec plan that they're gonna do for us for free, and we had a kickoff and talked about how that whole plan is gonna look. I don't know if she'd sent me this yet, but what's gonna start with, and it didn't start with this last time, Carolyn, you remember, but with a survey. It's gonna tell, they're gonna create a survey. It'll be a social media survey, it'll be Facebook, and they found that has worked the best. She had a bunch of sample questions, and I'll make sure everybody gets one, because in about 3 weeks, they want to make that live. And it's all stuff concerning parks and rec and what we think, some of the questions that need to be asked. What was kind of neat is there's some logic built into the page that they're going to do. So one of the big pushes of Parks and Rec is a lot of snowmobile guys on that board, and that's, trails are a big thing. So there's some logic that's built in, so as the person's taking the survey, if they say yes to, do you have any ideas or needs for a trail system in Alcona, it'll open up into a whole different page that's specific to trails or boating or fishing. So if somebody doesn't, as we lose people after, we start asking questions of things they don't want to do, they won't finish it. So hopefully that works out well. She's anticipating by the time we get done, hopefully by September, we'll have it all done and voted on and complete. Curtis is in for sure. I was with Carolyn at the townships meeting last week, was that? I think it was a week ago, and there was some, they had all gotten a invite to be, if they didn't have a rec plan, but it's free, they don't have to pay, and they either didn't get it or didn't know, so. Millen, I think, might be, Denny Smith is maybe talking, he'd like to get in on it, and Harrisville Township. I think those are the two for sure that maybe we're interested. So hopefully they will, and we'll get going on it. Third thing, road commission, don't think it affects anybody here, it affects me and anybody else who drives a truck. The road restrictions went on today, we officially until probably July 4th. Just kidding. There's a lot of frost in the ground, winter's been pretty rough, so. And even though, when you look at the roads, I mean, everybody can appreciate how rough they are and how rough they seem to be. We've had a lot of cold weather, but ideally, these 50-degree days are not the best. So what ends up happening is that top 6 inches thaws and everything below it stays frozen. That turns into a mush. And then it becomes, so and just nice, easy into spring would be what we'd like, but obviously, we don't have that. We can't make a motion to have that, so.
You want to also mention, the generator things that.
Sure, I can talk about it if you've got any other specifics. So, Carolyn and LEPC, your LEPC is involved, right? Or not? Is LEPC involved or somewhat? No? So Scott Rice, and we talked about
Emergency management.
emergency management, yeah. So the generators that were to go out to different entities, that continues, that push continues to happen. We have 30 of them available. I think it was. Up to 30, 70 some $1,000 worth. So there has been a little bit of an issue with getting people to commit to doing it. Not sure why that is. Maybe,
10, I think.
yeah. So if you have, a church or any kind of place like anywhere where we can get people that could warm or be fed or have shelter and might need a generator, get a hold of Scott Rice. You can set them up on what it's gonna take to do that. It's a free generator plus another, I don't know how many dollars worth of gas cans and the cord to hook it up and all everything it would take to hook it up. I think it's a 13,000 kW, which would, it's not gonna run everything, but it'd run a lot. It'd run a furnace, probably run a well, and some lights. So if you have a church that you attend and they don't have a generator, it'd be a great opportunity. They would have to agree to be a destination, a warming site if we have an emergency, but. It's a good
And that's
opportunity.
closing off probably by the end of this week.
Yeah, it's kind of got to get done. I mean, we've got to make our commitment to get those. Those all came from last year during the ice storm. When all that happened, MEDC realized or thought maybe these people need a little power when the power goes out. Now, consumer says all the money they spent, we're not gonna lose our power again, but. Yeah. But, yeah, if you had anything else to add, is that about right, Carolyn? Yeah. That's it?
Attended the District Health Department 2 meeting last week. And we had a report from Dr. Ahmed and influenza is slowly going down, so hopefully we'll get out of flu season pretty soon. At court security meeting, obviously, Scott chairs and talked a lot about some different stuff. The prosecutor's office is very happy with their new window that's completed in their door, so now they can see people coming in before they do, before they just had to open the door. At library meeting, and they actually, I know it's last minute, but they have an oak wilt presentation tonight at 6 o'clock at Harrisville Library. And I know I hate this weekend every year, but daylight savings time is Saturday and we lose an hour.
I am not the farmer who pushes for that, so.
Yes, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So, March 16th, I'm attending a meeting with the supervisor of Justin Township, the supervisor of Harrisville Township, and the zoning administrator of Harrisville Township with Consumers Energy about their phase 2 for the, their solar plan. They already have the 900-acre plan in Justin Township, which they bought from, Sapling Solar. And, this meeting will get to find out what their plans are for expansion. One thing that's I'm curious about, and they won't be able to answer this, but the new phase of the solar panel property acquisition, the first phase was leases, and this new phase seems to be outright purchase by consumers. They're purchasing the properties at some pretty lucrative rates, allegedly. And I just wonder how I know it's good for property values and, it's good for, tax base, it's good for, people who want to spend that money, but if you're a property owner, I just wonder, how that's gonna affect your taxes and how that's gonna drive property values up. On one hand, if you want to sell your place, it's great news, and on one hand, if you want to live there forever, it's not so great news. So,
I think I looked it up, so far they've bought over 378.
yeah. It's different than a lease, I mean, that purchase in there.
And it's purchase, it's
Yeah.
not purchase if they do the project, it has been purchased.
Yeah. So,
In Harrisville Township.
No, I didn't see any land get purchased in Harrisville.
not yet, but they're talking about expanding over there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Terry,
No, I got nothing this time.
Carolyn,
Sheriff mentioned the 911 authority meeting earlier this week. We have, 3 people who are dispatch trainees. They are progressing very well. Our director is pleased with their progress. The mass notification system, the training and moving forward on that is progressing quite well. Within a few weeks or so, she will be doing some trials and some just very, close examples of it to kind of make sure that it's moving forward as they expect. Radio encryption was discussed. She's looking for a new CAD system for probably next year. Doing the field piece for trying now. In addition to that, you all received a letter from Ty Damon, regarding the support of the generator for the senior center. And I hope that we couldn't have made it much easier. He sent you all a slightly different letter. And, I hope you got it into him because I think he needed them by tomorrow to send in with the grant. Had a CLID meeting, middle of February. Things are pretty status quo. We did not get a grant we got one grant for Jones Ditch. We did not get the other grant that we were hoping for. We didn't expect to get it, but that's okay. We got an $80,000 one for Jones Creek for cleaning that out and helping to increase the flow of water. Had a Sunrise Center meeting. We ended last month. Moving forward, as I shared earlier, we have a new director. Things are working out very well with her. Had an ACCOA finance meeting as well as an ACCOA meeting. They're moving forward and they're making good progress. And I think the really good thing about this, they're becoming very analytical about the revenues and their expenditures and processing, looking at the full year costs rather than a month by month. They're analyzing and looking at the full year. So I'm pleased to see that. Craig mentioned the MTA meeting we were both at. That was a good meeting, well attended.
Update him a little bit, Carolyn, on what John,
Pardon?
update him on John's, on the cloud services and BSNA. Remember, you talked about that?
Go ahead.
So that was one of the concerns the townships had, not knowing what our anticipation was to update our BSNA from currently .NET to cloud services. So we invited John to come out and talk to them, and I think it relieved some of their fears. They didn't know if we didn't go to the cloud, could they go to the cloud, and would it be okay? And John did a great job of kind of moving everybody's, and I think he would have gotten it by now, but he was gonna get a contact list for all the supervisors, so if he's more in communication with BSNA than any of them are, so he's gonna stay connected with them. If he hears anything new with the BSNA cloud services, things that they change, he's gonna let them know, so that they appreciate it. I think him coming out.
I appreciate him taking his time to come on.
Yeah, that was good.
After hours and all that. Had let's go to Wordsmith Airport Authority zoning meeting. Fleta is creating a new parking area, be for approximately 200 vehicles. And on it, there's going to be a restroom, a men and women's restroom. As it is, if you're in the farthest place general area where Coletta does their work. If you wanna get to the restrooms the way it is now, it's the equivalent of 3 football lanes. Which is like, wow. So anyway, this new restroom will help, will give them more closer to where they may be working. So, and that was about all I had.
Right, communications in your packet. Cruise at your leisure. Carolyn, you sound like you have something to say?
I'm concerned with, and I would hope that maybe we could authorize the chair to sign a letter that, what's happening in Lansing as far as taking away the influence and the opportunities for locals to make decisions on what can be built where and in what manner, and I think it behooves Alcona County for us to submit a letter of in opposition to those. I think there are 5 bills, 4 or 5, I don't remember. Anyway, they all are, from my perspective, extremely detrimental to the, well-being. And really not comfortable with somebody in Lansing making a decision on the size of houses that we want in different areas within our county. I believe that's best left up to the local zoning boards. And it will, all of that would be taken away from the size of the housing. That's one of the things they wanted to build. You can build any size house. We have 100 square foot house. You really want to have that go next to a house that is perhaps at value or $600 or $800,000. I just. So I would like to, and I'll be happy to draft something for Adam, but I would be happy if the board would agree to allowing Adam to send a letter on behalf of Buffalo County in opposition to those bills.
What's the time frame? I mean, do we get to read it first or?
Pardon?
Can we read it first or what you're sending? Can we read it first before we send it or?
Yeah, after I get it written.
Okay.
But if we could allow Adam to do that. I don't mind drafting it for him, but
Okay.
I'll give you 24 hours to read it. Before he sends this.
I would support that.
Okay. That should have been a formal motion, but let's assume that it was, please.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye,
All opposed? Motion carried.
thank you.
Anything else, commissioners? Oh, public comment, my bad. Last section of public comment, anyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought of a couple of things when the sheriff was reporting, in regard to the carrying in the courthouse. That is, when he attended the MMRMA meeting, Myrma, that will be part of the renewal questionnaire. As far as who's carrying or how many numbers of individuals are required to carry in the building. And I think, Scott, you might want to clarify for me that they highly recommended that individuals not be able to carry CPLs, but didn't say that they couldn't also, which I don't know if that includes who the judge has approved that can carry. So I don't know if it's like that in every courthouse that it's a judge, but it looked like there was a couple of different answers.
A lot of places the judge authorized folks under her umbrella to carry or not to carry. And Myrma will certainly insure us for as few or as many people are carrying weapons in the building. But the caveat is it's gonna cost us.
It's gonna come at
The premium
cost, yeah.
more expensive based on how many people we're
Correct.
to carry. So,
Also, the Acrisure updates of what they have been done and what's in progress and whatnot was a part of the last packets. And I just wanted to, and I can't remember if I commented on it or not, but, they gave us 3, It's under like the probate register section is where it came to, where it was exempt versus non-exempt employees. And, he passed 2 out of the 3, sections that they use as criteria to prove who was exempt and non-exempt. So that report or audit has been completed. And we do have that in our offices, so going forward, if there are any elected officials or department heads that are hiring maybe new people or have questions with overtime as far as exempt and non-exempt employees are, and we have that information now. I mean, this is what was done by a legal team, so they know better than my office does. So that was kind of neat. And one last thing, in your packet, there was also an ACCOA letter of support request, and I don't, you guys did address,
Carolyn spoke to it.
you did, oh, okay, I missed it, sorry.
No, she spoke to it, and I think it was intended for us individually to submit the letter. No, I don't know.
Oh, the one from Ty Damon,
Yeah.
yes, okay, got it.
Any other public comment? Okay, Commissioner, additional comments? Then we'll adjourn the meeting until March 18th.
No, I need some of those.
Yeah.
That's,